Hi friends, let's start today's analysis, and I think a very brutal day for the markets. Uh, Actually, it was brutal because we didn't get any chance to react on the screen. We opened gap down around 1,000 points. We touched the intraday low of around 21,740 odd, and most of the people who were carrying long positions on Friday probably they didn't get a chance to exit, and that was the panic which actually came in. And I think a lot of people would have suffered losses here because of this event. That is the reason why I always told that you should have a very close hedge, very close stop loss, and better not to trade. Even if you see my Friday's commentary, I thought for investors, you can invest money. But if you are a trader, sit aside, wait for the events to unfold. See, with one or two events, 1 or 2 days of action, it's very difficult to predict how exactly a market will go forwards or backwards. So on that day, it was looking that yes, probably the everything is into price, and probably markets will now move upwards. It's a good chance to buy. And I don't know people who would have bought, and especially the people who sells puts. They sell puts and calls at longer positions. Those people would have got actually hit a lot if they have not taken any health positions. So that is why I see before the event, or let's say when the event is going on, should always avoid such kind of positions and try to assimilate what exactly will happen due to the event, what exactly the reaction to the markets, how much downfall we can anticipate, and then we need to wait for one buy signal to actually take those positions. For example, in the last 15-20 minutes, we saw some buying from the bottom levels. We saw Bank Nifty improve by around 400 points, and we saw also Nifty improve by around 200 points or 250 points odd. That gave you a signal that probably at these levels, people are not interested in selling, and that may be a level of buying. So this kind of hints are required when you take your long positions. And I'm not saying the bottom has been formed. I'm just saying that probably markets give you small signal that yes, the low which has been made 22 71 740, I will take some time to breach that level now. It will not be easy for me to breach those levels, but the timing I'm taking rest there. So those kind of hints are needed to take your positions. Beyond that, you should not go aggressively long because markets are very volatile. You saw the VIX today, but 66% VIX up. I think it's broken the records of in the entire history because people are not seeing this much VIX in an intraday move. 66%, and that was very evident from the move which appeared in US markets. US market VIX was around 42. So if you have this much high volatility index, then you can't trade in options. Buying becomes very difficult. Option selling is difficult because you can reach any level either side. If you're taking short positions, market can rise further very fast. If you're taking long positions, you can have a stop loss at the bottom. So it becomes very difficult to take positions in this volatile markets. And I always prefer don't take positions in these volatile markets. So of course today there was signal in the last 15 minutes, but don't forget the average closing of half an hour is still crossed around 750 odd points. So that means the buying has happened, but it has happened on low volumes, and we can't trust that. And probably when the VIX is so high, better not to trade. Let the VIX settle down. Even if you have to take 500, 600 points higher, but then you have a clarity that the bottom is there in place, and the event is probably digested or some kind of solutions are appearing, etc. etc. That's a small background, but let's start with the global analysis. And I always take a lot of time with global analysis a lot. The reason is we are falling because of global markets only. This is the event which has been triggered by global markets. And even if you see the selling which happened in last November, December, especially post budget, January, February, it happened all because of global markets. Because there was a deep seek event in China, they were looking cheaper. Europe has started increasing their spending. They want to increase the fiscal deficit. They want to spend more on military and all those things. So there, people were moving ahead. And US, there was a exceptionalism, and that's why the money was moving to other markets. So that is why it's very important to understand the global scenario, where we are placed, and how exactly it is matching to our benefits. So don't forget, FIAs are the people who take a lot of long positions and short positions. Though they are the FNO people. Our DIAs are mostly into cash market kind of buying. They don't go for FNO a lot, and that is why a lot of things are influenced by what FIAs are doing, and that is why those global information becomes very vital. And generally, you have to track five markets. You have to track China, you have to track Hong Kong, Europe, America, and India. These five markets is what will give you a major glimpse. Russia, I'm moving out because it has been in a hibernating mode since that war between Russia and Ukraine. So now coming to the global thing. So we already saw the impact of the implications of the tariffs which US has imposed. We discussed that it is very unfair and the way the calculation have been done, it's probably a mockery. But let's put all those things aside. But what happened and what triggered that fresh move on Friday? So the fresh move triggered was due to China. China has put a retaliatory tariff of around 34% on US goods, and they've taken some other measures also. They have uh, put 11 companies of US into a territory where which will reduce their imports. They have also opened cases against two or three companies of US wherein they anticipate some kind of foul playing. So which means they don't want the US companies to do a free trade now in China. So they have taken these three, four steps, and they also reduce their imports or like exports to US on the seven important elements. Those are required for semiconductors, electronics, etc. So they are pushing hard to US on those items as well. So that's the reason why markets got worried, and we had a sharp fall, 2,200 points on Dow. I think it's the biggest fall since COVID. And Nasdaq also around 13 points down. S&P also was down. A massacre at the US markets, and this is what happens when you try to dig a hole for other people and you yourself fall into it. Now, this was one thing, but what other things got triggered? So, in Saturdays and Sundays on the weekend, there was massive protest against Trump. So, Trump and Elon Musk are facing huge ramifications of the actions that they're doing. Uh, Trump thinks this is the only way to make America great again, or let's say make America wealthy again. Elon Musk is trying to reduce the spending of the government in terms of Dodge. And those are people that come to the streets, but not only US people were on the street, a lot of European countries, Sweden, Spain, and many other countries were on streets, on streets, and people were campaigning against Mr. Trump. So a worldwide criticism has happened against Trump and his policies, and it's looked like there are no allies now with US. There's nobody who's supporting US. There's nobody who's on the side of US. That is again fearsome. But what has Trump told after playing 2 days of golf? That I don't see markets. I'm not worried about the markets. I have given an injection to the markets. I've given an injection to my economy, and now it's under medication. It will require some kind of time and treatment for it to come up. I am worried about the long term, and I am anticipating at least $7 to $8 trillion of money which will come into the US. Their foreign ministry is saying that around 50 countries have contacted them and they are looking for solutions. There's a late evening talk between Trump and Mr. President of Japan. Let's see how it goes. I think those are the triggers. And that is why we saw some recovery in Dow futures today. And that is why Nifty also reacted in the last 15-20 minutes. So Dow futures at one point of time were around 1,600 points down. But while we were closing, it was around 1,000 points or so. So we had a recovery of 600 points. Same as with Nasdaq. Nasdaq was down by around 700 points. But at the end, when we were closing, it was around 440 points up, which means around 350 odd points recovery in Nasdaq as well. That is what probably a market also liked. And we saw some recovery, although it was very small margin. It was from the small volumes. Crude, I think it has taken a biggest bashing, and now it is trading at a level below April 2021. So it's around 4-year lows. And I think it's very close to that COVID low because I think the second wave hit us on in the month of April 21 only, and now we are close to those levels. So it's actually trading, or let's say, it is taking into price the COVID kind of a scenario into its price. Let's see what happens, but people are expecting now the crude to go to $50. But you all know when the crude is falling downward, people give you targets much lower. That is very extreme. And when it is going up, people give you targets which are far, far away, which are also very stressed. I think crude का bottom यहीं कहीं बनना चाहिए. If we're trading around Brent of $59, I think between $55 to $60 is the range where the crude should find that bottom. But what are the things which will actually worsen the things? So the thing like China has taken that step where it has put a retaliatory tariff. Now what European Union has told? European Union has told that we are looking into what to put, either to put tariffs again on US, But whatever discussion will happen with US now, will put European Union first. That is what the stand has been taken by European Union. Japan has told that we will also see what will happen, but we are ready to talk. So I already told you it will be China who will be putting related tariffs on US, which is already put, and now it will be European Union, which is 50-50%. It may put tariffs, it may not put tariffs. Apart from these two countries, I really don't think anything else can happen into our markets. I don't think anybody else will react too much. Uh, there was two more things that happened during the market hours around 2:30 p.m., which gave you the first instance that the market starts is probably should start to form those bottoms. Those the important two things was Canada markets came into positive and Mexico markets came into positive. These are two markets which actually started all those tariff announcements and all those tariff wars started from these two countries. These are the two countries which have large deficit with US, and these are the countries where a lot of Chinese goods are parked and only stamp of Canada and Mexico is put, and then they are put to US. So eventually, these are two markets which came in green, and market started sensing that probably things are getting into some kind of a bottom formation. But don't forget, you can't find bottoms like this. Nobody knows the real impact of this tariff. So nothing happens for week, 10, 15 days. You will see a big massacre. Because people will not know how to ship my things, where I'll get the cheapest material now, what is the tariff, what is cross-country tariff, what is happening if my product is moving 2 or 3 times across the border, whether it will be 3 times the tax or it will be one-time tax, is it on finished things or the spare parts also, or it is like if it is getting cross-country thing, I'll be putting my tariffs. How exactly the slowdown will happen in terms of economies? Will the investment, can the investment really happen in this kind of scenario? I don't think anybody of other than government organizations, I don't think any private investment will happen in this kind of scenario. People will sit down, they will relax, people will wait for things to settle down because it will go to any level. So can we think that the markets can react too fast? Can we think that the market ka bottom बहुत jaldi ban jayega? I don't think so. Yes, I'm not talking only about India. I'm not talking about the global level. Until unless you have those investments going ahead, whenever you can't see your GDP going in product domain at all, we will see a global slowdown. We will actually see a lot of jobs going away, a lot of recession. It's probably a global recession which will trigger from here until unless things change. Now, who can change the things and what can change the things? I think the key is only with US and it's only Mr. Trump. The day he will think that yes, that's it, it's enough. And he has already started proclaiming his self victory. I already told you what happened in Vietnam versus US. US proclaimed their self victory because they were not winning the war with Vietnam. They were using soldiers. Same thing will happen here. They will declare self victory. Like 50 people, 50 countries have contacted them and they're agreeing to their reduction of tariffs. And they will announce these kind of winning moments. Now, let's say Japan will agree to something and they will say, okay, Japan has agreed to everything to us, so we are reducing the tariff on Japan also. They will proclaim or they will put these kind of things in place, and then the market will settle down, the nerves will settle down, and then only you will try to find a bottom. उसके बिना bottom नहीं बनेगा. Any kind of price action cannot form a bottom. Bottom will only form when you start getting positive remarks or positive actions from US in terms of tariff rollbacks or a stay on the tariffs on some of the countries. These are the only two statements which will bring warmth, which will bring comfort, which will bring resilience into the markets. Apart from that, all is hypothetical, assumption based, and it is probably speculative. Like I was saying, 15 minutes recovery in the afternoon hours, those all are speculations. You can't believe on all those price actions because there'll be some traders, there'll be some agencies who will start thinking these are the bottoms and let me take my positions, so let me start buying my stock, which is the bottom. This is that this way bottoms will not be formed. Bottom will only be formed when you get positive news, positive actions, either in terms of rollbacks or tariffs, or stay on the tariffs. then only you will start seeing positive momentum into the markets, and that time you can have a sharp recovery. Till then, markets should remain subdued because it's an event of higher nature, of a complex nature, which people cannot understand. It will become very difficult to trade. The trade will not happen at all. It will start stopping down. People will start deferring their decisions of purchase. People will start living only on normal things, and that will bring down consumption. Of course, it will bring down inflation, but that will bring down consumption. That will bring down the growth of the entire world. That is more worrisome. That's one part. We had a small, I think they had a small fight between Trump and Powell. I think Powell's speech was lined up in Friday night, which we discussed in that day show. So that time what happened, probably Mr. Powell was giving a speech and he told, I'm not aware of how exactly the tariff will play out. I'm not aware how much decision can come into it. I don't know how much effect will this will bring out. And Trump immediately, bashed him down by telling that this is a political statement. You should go and do the rate cuts. It will never happen. Powell is no slave. He has a very authoritarian role. He is a man of integrity. He's a man of principles. He will not take any decisions in Trump's favor just because of telling him. So Trump is creating all the mess, and he wants Mr. Powell to clean it up. It will not happen. Yes, the bond yields have come down very sharply. Bonds are now trading at around 3.9% levels. But dollar index is not falling. It is giving you resilience. So dollar index giving you resilience is showing that probably what Trump wanted, he will be able to achieve. He wanted deficits to reduce. He wanted a manufacturing to come to US, although this will be a slow process. But believe me, Trump will start succeeding in his actions in some time to come. They have to just endure some pain. I don't know whether they can do that or not, because we are seeing a lot of repercussions. People have come onto the streets and they're putting slogans and all those things. But dollar index is probably telling you, the resilience of dollar index is telling you there are some things coming again to US, which means US will form it bottom first. You take it from me, first bottom will only be formed in US among the countries who are affected. I'm not talking about India. India is very less affected. In fact, today's fall has just come because of the pain on the global front, and because FIs really wanted to take out cash from here to leverage their positions in other markets. What let's say to they will be getting your margin calls to cover up for them. The impact on GDP of India has been calculated by Goldman Sachs, and they're telling around 0.3 to 0.4% GDP slowdown will happen in India on the because of tariff, which is not big. Don't forget, we were 5%, 5.4% GDP growth in Q2 last year. So if it's only 0.4%, it means that the large GDP number, which came around 6.2%, and let's say 7.6% GDP growth, what India is expecting in this quarter, if we don't get 7.6 in this quarter, if we get, let's say, so the expectation of GDP growth for the entire FY26 was 6.6%. So even if we reduce by 0.4%, it will come to around 6.2, 6.3%, not more than that. If that is the only impact, then we've already fallen. And if that is the only impact, the last bottom level of Nifty will actually be 21,000. There is no chance that market can go down below 21,000. Be whatever happens in the entire world. That is a rock bottom level. If you get 21,000, buy it. I don't know if we will reach there or not. And probably what the action has taken the markets in the last 20 minutes. It's looking even further away. But we don't know things how things pan out. If European Union or Japan or any country starts putting retaliatory tariffs on US, then markets will sink further. So the markets can only rise from here only if they get positive news in terms of tariff rollbacks or let's say tariff stay. The markets will only fall now with retaliatory tariffs, nothing else. If you get retaliatory tariffs from other countries, then only the US market will fall. And if US markets will fall, other markets will also fall because Trump will not sit idle. He will not lose this war. He will start increasing in tariffs. Don't forget, he has only put 50%, which is calling as kind tariffs. तो उसके बाद margin increase करने का. So once you start in the tariff war, even US has some margin to play with, right? So it is not the end of it. So 21,000 for me is a rock bottom level for Nifty. उसके नीचे नहीं जाएगा. This is what I think. But the countries who are badly affected, US will first form its bottom. It will be US which will first give you sign of strength. The reason is because the positive news will only come from US only. There's no other country from where you will get the positive news. That's probably this is my understanding and that's what I feel. In terms of our markets, go ahead and buy. There is no issue at all. Buying 4 trenches, small. For example, if you have 1 lakh, buying 25,000 trenches, there is no issue at all. India has nothing to lose out of the tariffs. We have minimal impact. There is no issue at all. For trading, especially in F1 trading, I would again tell you, you can buy at even higher positions. There is no issue at all. Wait for things to settle down. Let first US form its bottom, then you start buying it. You will be mentally relieved. Yes, you will get some points less. So if somebody else is getting 1,500 points, 200, 2,000 points, you might get 1,000 points, 1,200 points. You might lose 800 points. But believe me, it will give you a lot of sleep. It will be a peaceful trade and it will give you a surety trade. Whatever people that are doing are speculative. It is just on assumptions, which might be true, might not be true. What has fallen the most? Nifty metal has actually fallen drastically. I told you on Friday also, on Thursday also. If the two biggest countries in the world are slowing down, there is no way at all metals can rise. And I think very lucrative levels you're getting metal stock prices. I think that's according to me, that's a buy again because no country will buy or will allow the world growth to slow down. At some point of time, these things will get resolved. There is a future path, and when these things happen, you will see a very sharp recovery in all those things. So Nifty IT, which has actually been killed, actually, it has been it has been just I don't know what to say on that. It's probably better away. It has been butchered. So Nifty IT, Nifty Metal, two very strong indexes, which I feel is the place to invest again. These are the weaker pockets, but you have very lucrative prices if you have a horizon of around 12 months to 18 months. Nifty Bank, today there was I would say, a sharp reaction, and I would say that probably it looked like there's a capitulation in Nifty Bank because FIs have a lot of stocks in bank only and they wanted cash out of it. So that is what the reason. But again, valuation point of view, prices point of view, Nifty Bank gives you a very good trade. Nifty Pharma, because Nifty Pharma में ज़्यादा कुछ होगा ही नहीं, nothing will happen too much. Even if Mr. Trump wants to put tariffs on pharma, I still feel that pharma will be least impacted. Yes, the only problem with pharma is that we get a lot of products from China. So if China has been tariffed and if they start putting tariffs on us, I think they have already raised some of the tariffs for all the countries. China has done that for some 7 months or so. Which means then only you will find some impact on pharma. Otherwise, pharma also looks good from here on. So, according to me, for investors, you should go ahead and invest. There is no issue at all. Look for the stocks who have shown the strength, who are actually trading above the 22,000 levels which we saw on 4th March. Right? So 4th March we were at same levels. We were around 22,000 odd kind of level, and we saw a huge recovery of 1,800 points. Today also we're at the same level. But you see the stocks which are trading at levels of higher levels. For example, it is trading around 5,000 levels, which is higher than what it was on 4th March. So those kind of stocks which are showing you resilience, strength, or where the strengths or where the updates have come for quarterly updates. These are the sectors and stocks which should enter. But definitely these are the levels to invest. There is no doubt at all. For traders, I would still think we should wait, let things settle down. There is no harm in losing some 600, 700 points. There is no harm at all. But that will give you a beautiful trade, a short trade to take forwards. Yes, the 15-20 minutes have given you some comfort. It is showing you that probably 21,740, the low of today. We don't know whether it will get broken or not, but this is it has given you a trade in terms of you can take long position with a stop loss of 21,740. You have one trade now, but it's very speculative and it's very dangerous to take on this kind of trade. But it's depends on person to person. I'll leave it on to you. As of now, markets are very sketchy. What I'm anticipating is that we will get some kind of retailing tariff, at least from European Union. With that, we'll see markets staying further, and then probably we'll find the bottom formation wherein Trump actually comes and makes some statements. I think those things will give you a clear indication कि market कहाँ जाकर रुक रहा है. उससे पहले market अभी dangerous है for traders, for investors. It's a beautiful opportunity. Go ahead and invest. With this, I'll probably end my analysis for today and in my video. I hope you would have liked it. Thank you so much.